Hey guys, today I'm going to be ranking every Ratchet and Clank game from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm only doing games that had physical releases, so the Ratchet and Clank phone games don't count, and also I'm not counting Quest for Booty because here in America we didn't get a physical version of Quest for Booty. We only had it on the PSN store. I believe PAL Territories did actually get a physical. I would like to own that one day, but if you want to know my thoughts on Quest for Booty, yeah, it's all right. It's a little short, but today I'm just ranking the games that had physical releases. So let's get started. First up, we have one of the PSP entries, Secret Agent Clank. I think, which this game was not developed by Insomniac. Who was it? It was High Impact. They did a lot of the PSP versions of like different franchises. I don't think this game is as cool as it could have been. Like, it has cool stealth mechanics, but I think it's kind of lost like what it's trying to do. I like the idea of giving Clank his own game, but I didn't find this game to be, I don't know, as enjoyable as the main series. So, as the one time they tried to do a spin-off, it was all right, but it wasn't fantastic. I would definitely have done it differently. Up next, we have the PS3 title, All for One. This is a cool idea, a 4-player Ratchet and Clank game. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't have that oomph. Like, the weapons feel weak. It has a weird, like, camera angle. And as a direct follow-up to A Crack in Time, this was disappointing. I did get it when it came out, but I don't know, it's a decent co-op game, but other than that, there's not really much here, I feel, to really offer Ratchet fans. Beyond that, we have the second PSP game, which I actually don't have on PSP, I have it on PS2, Size Matters. This one's pretty cool. Also by High Impact, I believe. Yep. Also by High Impact. It feels more akin to the first Ratchet and Clank game, which isn't a bad thing, but considering the games after the first one made such big improvements, this one feels a little archaic, but I get it for it being on the PSP. This version on PS2, I actually wouldn't recommend playing this. I'd recommend just playing the PSP version because this feels weird playing it on PS2. But overall, it has an interesting plot, I would say, and it's a decent game. Up next, we have I guess you would say the sequel to All for One, Full Frontal Assault. I mean, it came out after. This is like the 10th anniversary game, and it's not at all what you would expect from a Ratchet game. It's more of like a tower defense type thing. It's actually pretty fun. It's short as hell, though. That's my issue with it. That's why it's so low. If this game was longer, I probably would have put it a little higher. But it's fun. It has 2-player co-op. Yeah, you basically just like load into a map and defend your base by setting up traps, and Ratchet already uses guns, so that's pretty useful. You can go around and shoot the enemies. It is a fun game. It's just like I said, it doesn't last very long. This came out for like $30 brand new when I bought it, and it came with, I think, another game. I forgot which game it came with. I think this one came with a digital version of Deadlocked, so they knew this wasn't worth full price. Decent game though. Up next, we have the last of the PS3 entries, Into the Nexus. This one's also one that came out for cheaper. It came with Quest for Booty, actually. That's how I got Quest for Booty. This one's pretty good. This one has the same issue as the last one, the length. They weren't making full-length games at this point, which was fine. They were doing them like yearly. Like these came out year after year. This one's pretty fun, though. It has 6 planets, and they do a good job of like shaking up the gameplay, but like between the different planets. The story is pretty enjoyable. It feels more akin to a classic Ratchet and Clank game. I really liked Into the Nexus. I think the length, it's like maybe about 6 or 7 hours long. if that. It's fine. I enjoyed playing through this game a few times, and overall, I had a fun time with Into the Nexus. Next up, we have the first spin-off title they ever did, which was Ratchet Deadlocked. They dropped Clank from the title entirely because you don't play with Clank at all. I really like this game. It takes some of the best elements from the classic Ratchet games, which are like the gladiator levels, and turns it into a whole game. I mean, in fact, in Europe, this was known as Ratchet Gladiator. Has really fun two-player co-op, probably the best co-op of the series, and it turns the series into more of like a shooter, more of like a third-person shooter with like mission objectives and different vehicles and stuff. I really enjoy this game. I think this game's pretty fucking awesome. I hope one day they do something similar to this game. I would love to see this make a return. Next, we got Tools of Destruction. This is the first of the Ratchet Clank Future series, the first one on PS3, and that's mainly why it's low here. Low compared to what we have coming next. It has some of that launch PS3 jank. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It has like some motion control with the 6-axis controller. It feels a little, I don't know. It doesn't look as good as like some of the later PS3 titles. I don't know. It's just, and I had the same issue with a lot of like launch PS3 games where they just don't feel, I don't know. They don't feel, they feel weird. Like you could definitely tell it's a launch PS3 game. This is the first game to really focus on its plot. This game and its sequel really focus on the narrative of Ratchet and Clank. I think it did a good job. I like the story presented here with Ratchet wondering about his race and everything and stuff going on with Clank. Overall, I think it's a pretty good. I think this is a good start for anybody that just wants to jump into the series and doesn't want to play the PS2 titles. They did a good job on that front. I think this game's a lot of fun. Speaking of PS2, this one might be controversial, but I'm putting the first game here. I really love this game. I fucking adore the first game, but I can't really ignore the fact that they made a ton of improvements. You can't even strafe in this game, which makes it feel a little clunky to go back to, compared to the other titles. But this one still has great humor, great levels, great characters. There's a reason that the series took off from the first game, because they did such a good job with it. It's just hard to go back to, in my opinion, after playing the sequels. Speaking of sequels, more like requels, I don't know what you call this. The remake, the remaster, the redo. This is the one based on the movie. And it's also like a half remaster of the first game. I like this game, and I also don't like this game. Let me explain. I like the gameplay a ton. The gameplay is fantastic. I love the redone levels from the first game. I love the new levels. I fucking hate the story. This follows the plot of the movie, which is awful. They just fucking cripple the characters. I think that's why the new game Rift Apart is just avoiding this, because they did a terrible job with the characterization. I get they wanted to tie into the kids' movie they were doing, but fuck, dude, like Ratchet in this game was a fucking jerk that learns to be a character. Ratchet in this game is just a good boy and is boring as hell. But the game is fun. The game's super fun. That's why it's above this, because I think the gameplay is better. I think if you merge these two together, you would have the perfect game. But as it stands, I love the gameplay. I just skip the cutscenes. I don't give a shit about the story in this game. Next up, we got Going Commando, the sequel to the first game. Made some major improvements. The plot, I feel, was okay. It definitely didn't have the punch of the first game or the third game, which we're going to talk about, but the reason why it's here is just because of how much it brought to the table, how it really helped to expand the franchise. And I still had a fantastic time with this game. I mean, there's a reason why it's number 3 here. Next up, we have its sequel, Up Your Arsenal. Probably the what a lot of people would call the best of the series. I'm a little biased, but I think this game is fan-fucking-tastic. It introduced Dr. Nefarious. It introduced more stuff with the combat and the arena challenges. It introduced it has a really funny, fantastic story. The humor is top notch in this game. The whole Quark's storyline comes to a fold here. I think this game is the best of the PS2 trilogy, and I'm not alone on that sentiment. The online, I actually didn't play the online on PS2, but I did. I had the HD trilogy on PS3 for a little bit, which they had the online play. It was pretty fucking fun for what I played on the PS3. Up Your Arsenal is definitely worth your time, but my favorite is Ratchet Clank Future: A Crack in Time. I think this game is the best of both worlds. It's got a fantastic plot. Really feels like you're playing like a big budget movie, which is funny because this is supposed to be the one based on the movie and it sucks. This is the one that should have been a movie. The story is awesome. The gameplay is fantastic. They introduce some really fucking awesome weapons in this game. I fucking adore this game. The levels are amazing. There's really creative level ideas in this game. A Crack in Time, I think, is just the pinnacle of the franchise, which is why it's disappointing they followed this up with All for One, because they were at their peak right here, and they just kind of fell off for a bit. I'm hoping Rift Apart returns to this. That's what it looks like. Sadly, I won't get to play Rift Apart until probably the end of the year, because I won't have a PS5 yet, and I plan on getting a PS5 near the holiday season. So I will be avoiding anything Rift Apart related until then. But Ratchet Clank Future, A Crack in Time is my favorite Ratchet game. So there's my rankings of the Ratchet games. Let me know in the comments, what are your favorite Ratchet games? How would you rank them? You could put Quest for Booty in yours. If you want to know where I put Quest for Booty, I'd just put it right here with Tools of Destruction, because it really feels like DLC for that game. It's like 2 hours long. But yeah, let me know what you think of my list and what you would list them. Would you put Secret Agent Clank at number 1? I fucking hope not.